Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Griffin with the Unit 5 Lesson 3 video. We're going to talk about the side splitter theorem, which is a special theorem used to write certain types of proportions in triangles. So please do this opening exercise on your own. Alright, so to begin with, the side splitter theorem says that if you have a line segment, it's going to split the sides of a triangle proportionally if and only if it is parallel to the third side. So if you look at this particular image, if DE is parallel to AC, then we have three different ways we can write this proportion. We're going to talk about BE and BD from the smaller triangle. What this theorem says is that since DE is parallel to EC, then I can write into a proportion that uses BE with EC and BD with DA, and that those would be in the same ratio. I could still also go to small triangle over large triangle and do the same proportions that I was doing and say BE could go with BC and BD would correspond to BA. But I can also use EC and AD in the same way, where EC could correspond to BC and AD could correspond to BA as well. So all three of these are totally valid proportions that I could use to find the values of the sides that are on the outsides of the triangle, not the parallel lines. Okay, if you're using the parallel lines, you have to use the entire lengths, like in this one. And here I've color-coded it so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. Now the same rule also applies even if it's not a triangle. If you have three lines that are all parallel and you have two different transversals cut, we can make very similar proportions. So in this picture, I could take AC and say that it could correspond to CD, and that would be in the same ratio of taking BE and EF, and I'll color code those. I can also compare each smaller part with the whole, so I could take AC and compare it to AD, and BE and compare it to BF as well. And so it would be the smaller piece compared to the whole, the top smaller piece compared to the whole on both pieces, on both sides. I could also use the two bottom ones compared to the holes as well and do a proportion with CD compared to AD, and that would equal a proportion comparing EF to BF. And so any of these would be valid proportions that you could write. So you could always do pieces together, you could do the bottom part compared to the whole, or the top parts compared to the whole. It depends on what is given in your examples. So if we look at this first example, given that DE is parallel to AC, you have four pieces of those sides that are possible to make a proportion with. These four pieces here. Those are the sides that were split for the side splitter theorem. So you can take those directly and make a straight proportion right out of them the way they are. So you have your top left over your bottom left and your top right over your bottom right. And then when you go to cross multiply and solve, just like you would do any of the normal ones, you would get X that way. The same thing applies here to number 2. Notice though in number 2 that the parallels are these ones because they're the ones that appear to be parallel. And so it's sideways from the rule above. And so the pieces that we're talking about are the pieces of the transversals. These would correspond, and these would correspond. So if you almost turn it sideways, your 2 could go over the 5.5, and on the other transversal, the X could go over the 4.125. And then you could cross multiply and solve. So we would get 5.5x equals 8.25, and then when you divide by 5.5 on both sides, you'll get 1.5. Going on to number 3, again we know ST is parallel to QR, so it's a similar setup to the example, and we can fill in what we know. SQ is 2, TR is 3, PS is 4, and we're finding PT. So just like number 1, we can go and make a direct proportion to solve those. And so 2x would equal 12, and when you divide by 2 on both sides, you get 6. Also note, these are also okay. To find x, and you would be using the small triangle over the large triangle, and you can do that. The small triangle has a 4, where the large triangle would be 6. The small triangle has an x, where the large triangle would have an x plus 3. Okay, so these are okay too. You can do these small over large type of proportions. And it's going to get you the same answer because you're going to end up distributing here and getting 4x plus 12 equals 6x. And then when you subtract your 4x from both sides and divide by 2, you're still going to get 6. So that's allowed. All right, going on to number 4, we have our parallels. So we can take the tops and the bottoms and make a straight proportion out of that. So 4 over 12 is equal to x over 18, and we can cross multiply. So 12 times x is 12x, and 4 times 18 is 72. And when you divide by 12, you are going to get 6. Number 5 is giving you the same kind of setup because we do have parallel lines, but they're not telling you all 4 sides. They're telling you the ratio of AD to DB is 2 to 5. Keep in mind, remember that in proportion means they have the same ratio. That means on the other side here, the ones directly across from them are going to have that same ratio where we have the 2 on the bottom and the 5 on the top. So if CE measures 6 and we're looking for EB, we can make a proportion using those numbers. So x and 6 are the top and bottom. According to the ratio, the top part is 5 and the bottom part is 2. And then you can cross multiply and solve that way. Okay. Number 6, we have to draw our own picture. So the triangle is ABC. Remember that it doesn't matter how you start it, just make sure to label everything the way they say. So if I'm doing ABC like this, it says E is a point on AC and D is a point on AB. So AB and DC so that they end up parallel. So basically we're getting a picture much like the ones we've been doing where DE and BC are parallel to one another. And those parallel lines are splitting the sides into congruent or pieces in the same ratio. So then if AD is 2, DB is x minus 1, AE is x, and EC is x plus 2, we can make a proportion. Imagine turning this. So I'm going to put the x over the x plus 2 and the 2 from blue over the x minus 1. If you think of what I've done, I've taken the blue parts and putting them over the yellow parts. Okay, and then we're going to cross multiply. Please remember you need to distribute when you cross multiply this and this. So you're doing x times x minus 1 and 2 times x plus 2. Make sure you're distributing. You're going to get x squared minus 1x equals 2x plus 4. If you have something that has an x squared and an ordinary x in it, it's quadratic. In order to solve those, you're going to need to set them equal to 0. So this is some Algebra 1 review. Combine your like terms. And now you're going to factor it. You have to find numbers that multiply to -4 and add to -3. So that would be -4 times +1 would multiply to -4 and add to -3. And then each one of these would get set equal to 0 separately and solved. So this one we would add 4 to both sides, and this one we would subtract 1. Keep in mind though, in geometry, it does not make sense for us to have a negative length. So if I were to check this, if I were to plug in the 4, I'd get a 4 here, 4 plus 2 would be 6, 4 minus 1 would be 3, and this would be 2. And everything there ends up still positive, so this is good. But if I were to plug in a -1, I would get a -1 here, +1 here, and a -2 here. These two are not okay. They're not allowed. I can't have a negative length. So that means -1 isn't going to make sense for this picture, even though it worked as a solution to the quadratic. Okay, and then finally number 7, same concept. We're going to set up a proportion, but now if you look on this side we have the two pieces, and on the other side we have one of the pieces in the whole. So we have two choices of how we want to do this. Okay, we can try to split the side, or we could do small over large. Okay, if I were to split the side, I need to figure out what EB equals. So I'm going to take my 4x plus 1 and subtract 3x and get me an x plus 1. And so that would, then I could take the side splitter theorem and just say the top over the bottom equals the top over the bottom. And I could solve it that way. Or I could treat it as small triangle and large triangle like I've been doing. The small triangle is x plus 2, and the large triangle on this side, you'd add those together, it would be 2x plus 2. The small triangle has the 3x, where the large triangle, the whole thing, would be 4x plus 1. No matter which way you choose to set this up, your answers will be the same. I tend to pick the one with the least amount of binomials. This one only has 2 binomials, whereas this one's got 3, because this is going to require more distributing. So I'm going to choose this one here to solve. Please remember that you do need to distribute and you need to multiply correctly. So if that means taking the extra step to write everything out, do it. X times 3x is 3x squared. And we are distributing x plus 2 times x plus 1. You can do that right off the fraction if you're good at it, but you can write it out if you're not. So we're going to distribute the x and the 2. Okay, I'm going to combine like terms if you want to at this point. You don't have to, you can wait. But either way, I see that I have an x squared and a regular x. That means it's quadratic and it needs to equal 0. So I want a positive x squared whenever I can, and everything to be with it. So I'm going to move everything over to the right side in this particular one. And I'm going to combine all these like terms. So I'm going to have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals 0. Another Algebra 1 review. When there's a number in front, you need to take that number and multiply it by the end, and that's what you're trying to multiply to, and you're trying to add to your -3. Okay, so we need to multiply to a -4 and add to a -3. So that would be -4 times +1. So this time, because there's a number in front, we can't go straight to the parentheses. We use that -4 and that +1 to split up the middle term, and then we're going to factor the front 2 and the last 2 by grouping. So we're going to take a GCF out here, which would be 2x, and divide it out. We're going to take a GCF out here, which is just 1. You have to take it though. And then you have your 2 that match become one factor, and the 2 GCFs become the other factor. And each one of those gets separated and set equal to 0. And solved. Add 2 to both sides, you get a +2. Subtract 1 to both sides, and then divide by 2, and you get a -1/2. Check them all. Notice the x is just plain. You can't have a -x. So when I plug in 2 all around, I'm going to have a bunch of positive numbers, and that is what I want. So that is my only correct choice. All right, I will see you in class.